brought me on a series of thoughts, which I will try my best to articulate. But just started with the idea of, the revolution will not be televised. And, the idea that, it's not something that we're going to be able to passively watch. It's something that we are going to be actively participating in, whether or not we desire that. Things are shifting in a way that are going to force us to act or to move or to, in essence, choose the path, forward that we each want to take, but it's not something that you'll just be able to passively watch from the sideline. And then just kind of also like expanding, or not even like, kind of expanding on, the meaning of, the revolution will not be televised, and looking at what's happening right now, and the movements that are taking place right now, and the massive show of solidarity that there is with regards to moving forward towards collective liberation, right? There are so many movements and so many people that are coming out and standing up and expressing, this revolutionary idea of true liberation, collective liberation for all people, right? And there is a deep desire and motivation right now that so many people are experiencing. And it's that idea of the toothpaste being squeezed out of the tube. You can't put that back in, right? People are waking up and realizing, and once you realize and you're aware and right? There's no unknowing, right? You can try your best to ignore, but it's going to become increasingly difficult to do that, right? So just thinking of the idea of this revolution not being televised, like looking at, what's being put in the media, right? And how things are being framed and talked about within these systems that rule within our governments, right? We have these elections coming up, and the way that these politicians are talking and expressing, and the things that are not being said, right? They are not talking about the massive uprising that is taking place right now, this massive shifting consciousness. They are not demonstrating like how widespread this movement actually is, right? Our oppressors are not going to show us the things that would instill that hope, right? And keep us moving forward. They're not going to give us that nourishment. They're not going to provide us with the fuel to keep us moving forward, right? So trusting in the energy of the movement and knowing that, they're not going to put it on display, right? They don't want you to know the depths of work that you are doing. They don't want you to know how much you're actually achieving, but trust that the movement is moving, right? Trust that work is being done, that we are truly shifting towards meaningful change. And yes, it's going to take time, right? And it's not going to be an easy path forward, right? Our oppressors are not going to willingly, step aside or just start doing the right thing, right? But trust that that's part of the process, it's not meant to be an easy road. But yeah, that idea, the revolution will not be televised. It's not going to be broadcast, And I was also, before that was on, I can't remember if it was right before, but before that, one of the songs that played was talking about a revolution. Tracy Chapman. I love that song. And don't you know that talking about a revolution, it sounds like a whisper, right? It's not something that's broadcast, but it's felt. It's an energy. It's a movement and motion forward. And even if it isn't completely organized or, consciously connected, we are connected on such a deeper level, right? So allowing ourselves to feel into that connection, right? Feel into that energy of peace and liberation and feed that, nourish that, trust in that energy and that light and that power that you have to push that forward, right? We are all such divine and powerful beings, and we are truly, each one of us, capable of effecting change. And that change starts with ourselves, It starts with allowing ourselves to take that deep dive within, right? Looking within ourselves and facing that trauma and that pain that we have ourselves suppressed, right? Unearthing and releasing all these stories that have been created and placed upon us that we have been trying to hold up, Let's recognize how we perpetuate the illusions. Let's recognize how we perpetuate these systems that are oppressing us, right? Let us recognize the part that we must play in achieving true liberation. If you want to see a free world, if you want to see peace, you have to be an active participant in that, right? You cannot sit passively by and watch and expect it to just happen. That's not how it works. So recognizing the very important part that you play and knowing that now is the time, right? Right now. Recognize the power of your voice, of your being. There is purpose in your life that is beyond what you can imagine. Change that we want to see in the world, that has to start with us. We have to be that change. We have to embody what it is we want to see. We have to advocate for ourselves, for our brothers, for our sisters. Right? We have to advocate for humanity. Given, that we are allowed to exist on this planet, right? The gift of this air that flows through our lungs, the trees that are providing that oxygen, right? All that this earth provides us, food, shelter, nourishment on so many different levels. And how are we honoring that? How are we honoring this gift? Train of thought that the song carried me on. So as I was, listening to the song and these things were coming through me, it's, when it comes to music and art in general, writing, and we think of meaning, right? Meaning behind the art, what is the artist's intention, right? And I think the beautiful thing about art is that there are so many different meanings, right? Regardless of what the artist intended. When you read something, when you perceive something, it's like with reading cards, right? The person that creates the cards, of course, with the art and the message, that's something that's channeled through them, but that's not the only meaning that there is, right? Right? That meaning, that wisdom, that knowledge that comes through you when you are experiencing this art, when you are taking that in, what flows through you is, it could be something completely different than was intended by the original artist, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong, right? That's the knowledge that comes through you. When we think of these signs and reminders from the universe as we are navigating through it, we could all be seeing the same sign but receiving a different message, right? I mean, I think at our core right now, collectively, there are consistent messaging that's coming through. There is consistent messaging that's coming through, but just thinking about how different things like losing my train of thought, but yeah, just being open to tuning into how you perceive different things and the messages that come through for you, and allowing yourself to kind of explore